Amis téléspectateurs, nous saluons encore une fois, nous bienvenue sur notre édition de Tête à Tête sur Télécréole. Nous parlons d'une émission trilingue là, puisque nous gagnons des invités qui sont de différents côtés en Haïti, qui sont ici dans les États-Unis. Nous parlons un petit peu de politique locale, ici dans Massachusetts. Nous allons parler de situation de droit international, ou bien droit humain, pardon, en Haïti. Et nous allons parler un peu de culture avec danse. Et c'est avec ça pour nous introduire deux invités nous en anglais, bien sûr. We are going now to invite or to welcome our special guest for this program. First, Bokia Louis Chalviré, welcome once again en Tête à Tête Télécréole.
Merci Charlotte, bonsoir, c'est un plaisir pour moi avec vous.
And of course, I will continue in English with you.
Of course, I understand.
And bonsoir Martin.
Bonsoir, bonjour mademoiselle.
Comment ça va?
Martin Kio, muy bien.
Très bien, ça.
We have Martin Kio with us and Bokia Louis Chalviré, and why? Because we have upcoming elections pretty soon, and that would be on September 9th. So we need to touch base a little bit on some of the key positions that people are looking into. Bokia, first, help us frame what those elections are all about. What's at stake now?
Well, we have several positions that will be open. We have one of the major positions is the governor's position, and we have our positions from Senate, Attorney Generals, and state representative. And the reason why we're here tonight with Marty Keogh is that I've known him for a very long time. I've watched him in his past elections when he was running for city councilor at large, and is a very hard-working person. And he's running for registered.
So two things are very important. We are talking about several levels here, including also for, did we say?
Governor.
So we're talking about Charlie Baker.
I know you will bring me back there.
We are talking about Martha Coakley. We are talking about
Yes.
Steve Grossman. And then we'll mention
And Charlie
a few other
Baker
ones. Charlie
again.
Baker, of course. Now, what's unique for me in this particular show, or having you as guests, I have here a Republican, I have here a Democrat, and we are talking about politics. Now, Martin, I've seen you certainly a few times, Forest Hill.
Yes.
People starting to know you, at least from the people that I know, and that's how I was able to connect with Bokia.
Yes.
And bringing you into the Haitian community will help us understand not about you only, but about what that means to run for register of probate. There have been a number of, let's put it bluntly, scandals in Massachusetts
Yes.
when it comes to the justice system. We also know about Haitians or Haitian Americans, either young Haitian Americans or people who are in family situations that have to face the system and things are not working well for them.
Yes.
So how do people understand the whole idea of register of probate?
Well, you know, the funny thing is one of the first obstacles I have is I have to introduce myself to people because they don't know who I am. The second is I have to tell them what the probate court does because they have no idea what it does. And the third is I have to tell them where the probate court is because they don't know where it is. But the probate court is, you've got the governor up here, the top position in the state, and then you got the registrar of probate that's far below it, but still a very important position, just the same. And for those people who don't know what the probate court does, it deals with death, divorce, custody, child support, wills, trust, estates, adoptions, name changes, conservatorships, guardianships, and equity. So pretty much if you've got a family matter, you will go to the probate court. I say to people, if you get in trouble with the police, you go to criminal court. If you want to sue your neighbor, you go to civil court. But when you've got a problem with your family, and you see them on the news all the time, you go to the probate court.
Donc, on a parlé de ça, il y a un probate court qui, encore une fois, il y a un rapport avec la question de la famille, qui a un rapport avec la question de gens qui ont des cas de divorce, qui ont des cas de peut-être héritage, qui ont des cas d'adoption. Et bien tout ça, il y a le probate court. Et c'est pour ça que nous avons avec nous là Martin Keogh. Nous ne pouvons pas le faire traduction tout le temps, mais nous avons une bonne idée de qui ça nous a parlé et inviter encore des gens qui ont aidé à comprendre le programme, venir joindre nous, maintenant faire une petite idée toujours. Now, given now the larger scope that we are discussing, probate court, who is Martin Keogh and where does he fit in terms of addressing some of those issues that we've heard about or that we've seen recently?
You know, if I were to tell you who Bukia was, I'd do a much better job at saying she's great, she's this. But, Martin Keogh, I'm just a kid. I came from the housing projects in Mission Hill. I grew up in Hyde Park most of my life, and I live in West Roxbury now with my wife. For the last 15 years, I've been an attorney, and I started off helping kids that got in trouble, juvenile delinquents, juvenile offenders, etc. That escalated into doing the family court stuff, which, adoptions, name changes, wills, trusts, estates, etc. I've been doing that for the last 10 years. Prior to that, I worked at the Boston City Council for 10 years for 2 different city councils. I ran one of the council's office for 8 years. It was quite a task. It took a lot of my free time out, but I enjoyed every minute of it. And I pretty much, I say to people, I've been doing public service my entire life. Starting when I was a paper boy, if my neighbor would say, can you go down to the store and get me a pack of cigarettes, which is okay back then for a kid to buy, but now forget it. But anyway, that's me.
Yeah, let's talk about this, some of those issues, how they affect some communities that, and I'm not just talking about the Haitian community, communities that may have to do or deal with language barriers,
Yes.
who don't know or don't understand the judicial system, who may, due to some all kind of cultural background or where they came from, have a difficulty negotiating conversation or communication with the police. Have you seen those issues affecting particular communities, and how can they be addressed?
All the time, and I work as a public defender as well, and they have interpreters in the criminal courts to help kids. That
Absolutely.
I speak a little bit of Spanish, I speak a little bit of French because I took that in school, but I often have to hire an interpreter because, number one, I talk really fast, but you should see the way they talk in court. The problems with people that don't speak the language, and particularly Haitian Creole in Hyde Park, it's a large Haitian population there, is the police don't understand what they're saying and they just end up arresting the kid. And oftentimes when I get a case with someone who doesn't speak the language, I find it's been a mistake by the police because they just didn't understand what that person was saying. They just said, hey, we'll arrest him and let the courts take care of it.
Bokia, I'm going to transition to Haitian Creole now.
Sure.
On fait parler de l'élection ça qui va venir là parce que nous voulons pas continuer à rencontrer encore même d'avoir haïtiens conscientiser l'importance de l'élection pour qui ça haïtiens supposé aller voter dans différents types d'élections qui pourraient le faire prochainement.
Élection très important et puis ça nous connaît dans l'autre élection qui passait c'est que si une élection pour maire par exemple où il y a une majorité de monde qui allait juste voter pour position maire là tandis que il y a plusieurs autres positions après maire là tant que pour député on dit dans termes plus familier avec eux state representative ou bien city council ou bien même pour now gain register of probate et c'est une bail qui est très important so déjà fin faire sortir pour aller voter disons gain élection pour le fait là c'est élection pour gouverneur et puis gain pour attorney général tout gain pour treasurer gain l'autre plusieurs positions encore et state representative mais on la position qui est très importante parce que ça c'est monde qui est officiel qui est dans local nous qui est dans ville côté nous habiter c'est très important pour qu'on qui assurer et puis pour assurer qu'une baille en position toujours dis à moi là avec Marty Kiyog parce que moi j'ai longtemps m'a regardé Marty Kiyog sur scène dans cap déroulé pour développement pour gens le travail il connaît IPAC très bien il levé IPAC il dans toute zone Mission Hill il est familier avec diversité qui gagne dans district nous et ils sont gens qui vraiment travaillent très dur, ils sont avocats, ils ont un peu l'expérience. C'est ça qui fait moi penser que c'est très important pour la communauté à connaître qui est-ce qui gagne dans le niveau register of probate. Et c'est très important pour l'élection faite là en novembre, le 9 novembre, si Dieu veut, le voter pour sortir pour gouverneur de choix. Ou bien quel que soit l'autre monde aller voter pour considérer garder dans bail l'autre là pour qui monde qui position qui gagne et puis chercher non Marty Kiyog raison qui fait moi dire Marty Kiyog ou bien mon mais raison qui fait moi dire Marty Kiyog c'est parce que Marty Kiyog me connaissait lui même qui a mieux présenter nous dans travail que l'affaire du fait que histoire pour côté les lever il est très familier avec problème que parents nous yo confronté dans cour judiciaire avec petit yo dans juvénile parce qu'ils ont l'expérience dans ça ils sont monde qui très motivés ils sont monde qui ont le courage ils veulent faire travail ils prêts pour travailler là parce que ils connaissent les bons pour travailler là il y a l'autre candidat qui a courir pour même position mais cependant moi pas pièce énergie qui sorti dans l'autre candidat que Marty Kiyog.
Well, I just heard that the level of energy that was seen in Marty Kiyog cannot be compared to what she's been observing in other candidates. I have this question that's burning my tongue.
Yes.
You talk about probation department, and we recently heard about this big scandal where the commissioner is now probably going to be locked up.
Yes.
And Massachusetts also over the past few years, if not decade, has seen so many instances of high-ranking officials who've been brought to court for inappropriate behavior or unethical behavior. How will you, as Martin Keir, try to maybe bring some new perspective?
Well, you know, and I'm not familiar with every single case of corruption that's come forward, and particularly the last one. I don't know all the facts. I just know that the
Outcomes.
Yeah, that's it. I wasn't following the case because I was out campaigning every day, and I heard it. I said, oh wow, you know. But you know, when it comes to, I think that most public officials get into public service for the right reasons, and I think things happen along the way to some that are beyond their control, and you've got to take responsibility at the top. In some very rare cases, you get somebody who is absolutely corrupt, and I don't really think that happens a lot in mass, but there are a lot of cases. When it comes to me in that office there, I mean, my number one goal in there is to reform that office. Number two is to modernize it, and number three is to professionalize it. I want, you know, for the probate court, it's not like you're walking into a supermarket and you're going to buy groceries. When you go to the probate court, you're not in the best frame of mind anyway. Either someone's died, or you're getting divorced, or maybe there's a will that's being contested, etc. But when you get into that office there, you shouldn't leave there stressed out, and that's going to be my number one goal, is to cut down on the stress that people already have before they get in there.
Right. It is also mentioned that you will try to get people access to greater resources. What are some of those resources you think that will be helpful to some of those communities that are in the urban Boston area?
And that'll be part two. You know, part one, I would say, is reforming the office. Part two is they just put the website up in the last few months, which is great. It gives you some information, so you don't have to go into the office. But right now, you cannot interact with that website. So if you want to fill out a form, for example, with the Registry of Motor Vehicles or eBay, you can actually interact and get business done. In the probate court, they're not there yet. They're going to be on the way, and I want to help usher that in. But of more importance is that there are close to 100 different languages that are spoken in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, including Haitian Creole, including Cantonese, Chinese, Mandarin, Spanish, you want to say Gaelic, which you can understand, I can understand Gaelic. But the forms need to be in every single language. That's number one. That'll cut down on the language barrier that I've experienced with my criminal clients, with the police. Number two, I'd like to bring the probate court to the public, which is former Registrar Neller, if people are familiar with him a few years ago. He used to have basically town meetings in the neighborhood, so people who couldn't make it to the probate court would go there. Extremely, extremely helpful. And the third thing, a show or a venue like this is a great resource for anybody. You know, if you had a call-in show, if someone had a question, I'd probably set up a show like this and take their questions online, over the phone and try to help them out.
Right.
But there's many ways to help the public other than just sitting in that office. I don't think I have to be in that office all day. I think I have to be in the community and making them aware of what the office can do for them.
Now, how is probate organized in terms of staffing and operations that will ensure some either diversity or some representation of different communities for people to really get access to services or get to you?
At one time, I will tell you, if you mark my words, if you ever walk in, if I get elected, when I get elected, I don't want to sound too confident, but I hope to get elected. When you walk in that office any day next year, you're going to see me behind the counter. So the access to me, I'm going to be just a regular employee there, making sure that office is run. I'm not going to sit in the back there smoking a big cigar and saying everything is great. I'm going to be out there working my butt off. But that office there, one of the problems with that office is that at one time they had 90 employees there, and then they cut it down to 55, and now it's down to 29. There was some diversity, a lot more diversity in that office previously. Now there's really not a lot. I don't think we have to increase the number of employees, because I think the employees that can handle the workload that has gone up at the same time as the employees went down. But what I'd like to do with my hires is that I think that my office, starting with me, has to represent the diversity of the community. Like I speak a little Spanish, I speak a little French from school. I'm going to learn to speak a lot more of that when I get elected. I'm working actually with my son. We're working on Spanish right now. But the people I hire, I want to make sure, out of 100 cases there today, more than half will be people of Asian descent that speak different languages. The rest, you'll have Haitian Creole, you'll have Spanish, you'll have French, you'll have et cetera in there. But I'd like to get staff that can speak different languages to help the people who come in that don't speak the English language. And big surprise, there are people in Massachusetts that don't speak English, right?
Oh, yeah.
Shocker. But it's true, and I see that. I grew up in Hyde Park. Hyde Park to me is next to Dorchester,
Very diverse.
the most diverse community out there.
Right.
And I'd say Eastie's probably right near there too. But Hyde Park, just everybody lives in Hyde Park. It's just a great community.
Right. I'm also thinking of those situations, very concrete, where this parent claims that I was just disciplining my kids, and then the police came and arrested me for something that did not rise to the level of beating up of the child.
Yeah.
Or some woman who claimed that I called the police because I had this episode with my partner, and then next thing I know, I wanted some mediation to take place, but but he was arrested. And I'm trying to sort out how your office or your being in this position may be able to address some of those issues.
A lot of those things, and the police, it's at their discretion to commit an arrest, but when it's a domestic, if I have an argument with my wife and the police show up, chances are that, the male's going to get arrested. They may be right, they may be wrong.
Right.
And normally, that can get resolved within a short period of time through the criminal courts, but it's not good when that happens. As far as the probate court goes, if someone's going to get divorced, you are going to have issues like that where the person does get arrested, and it may actually rise to the level of a divorce action. With respect to your kids, like I would never hit my kid, but a spanking on the bum, I say to them all the time, what happened to the little boy that would try to run in the street? What did his daddy do? He spanked him on the bum. If you see my little boy, I'll have him do it to you, because it happened in front of us. We were walking, and the guy, don't you run on the street. There's a level of discipline that you have to give your children. It doesn't rise to the point of a complete assault and battery.
Right.
You see these cases where a child will come with bruises all over their body. That's
different.
That's a
Take
problem.
care, right.
But a little boy that talks back to his parents, he gets. I think you start with timeout, you start with all the other things, but at some point there's going to be more discipline because kids test you. They test you every day. My little boy tests me every single day. But.
So it's just to make the point that there could be something to be said about at what point this office facilitates or promotes prevention, education, before things get to this point where it has to go through the courts.
There's no doubt, with all the domestic abuse going on there with women and children and elders, that this office can promote ways to avoid it or resources for people to go to. Elder abuse is a big topic that doesn't get much attention because when the elderly get abused, they're afraid to tell people. A little kid might be in the same position, but someone of our age will speak up, and we need to address that.
We're about to close. I would like to do two things. Is there a way for people to contact you or your office and find out more about your candidacy?
Yeah.
And also I'll get to Bukia about how people can get in touch with you to get more information.
Yeah, there's three primary. There's actually four, but the best way is martinjkeogh.com, my website, which has all the information on how to contact me, all the information on where I stand in positions, and everything I'm going to do when I get elected. The second is Facebook, and of course the third is Twitter. I think we're Twitter friends, we're Facebook friends.
Yeah.
And of course my phone number's in the book. I say to people, if you got a problem, you can call me at home if you want. I'm not going to be there because I'm on campaign right now, but at home, and my office number, which I give out to everybody.
Office number.
Yeah, I say it seriously too. I always answer the phone unless I'm talking to somebody or I'm asleep. But I always answer that phone.
And
I can vouch for him.
Let me say one thing as I am about to finish. Elections again are September 9th.
Correct.
And coincidentally, birthday of Martin Keogh happened to be
How did you know that?
September 9th. Happy early birthday, Marty.
Yeah, well, I hope it's going to be a great birthday. It's either going to be the best birthday ever or the same birthday
It
for the
needs
last
to be
30 years.
a great birthday.
I hope so. I think it's going to be.
All right, I wish you good luck again. We are totally up to giving an opportunity to people to understand who are the candidates. It's not an endorsement per se, but we are glad to be able to speak with you and to bring or to shed light on some of those issues that currently affect family members.
And do you mind if I'm asking you people if you'll please consider voting for me. I'm the only guy in the race that actually has experience for this job and the only guy in the race that actually practices probate law. If you have my other opponents in the race, you can ask them 3 easy questions. Have you ever been in that office before? Do you know any of the judges, and do you know what the laws are that pertain?
I'll
The
take
answer will
you
be
some
no.
advisement. Thank you very much. Bukia, merci beaucoup encore d'être côté
C'est un
de nous
plaisir,
interviewer
merci.
ça.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Good luck.
Thank you.
Encore une fois, c'était avec nous un candidat, son avocat, monsieur également tout, Martin Keogh. Monsieur l'a posé candidature pour les responsables encore une fois sur les probate laws qui pourraient les gérer en pile questions qui ont rapport avec la famille, relation entre membres de la famille, question monde qui mourit, question héritage, question adolescent qui a un problème. Donc encore une fois, nous devons visiter ce site là, non que nous voyons, martinjkeogh.com ou bien aller chercher sur Facebook pour information. Merci beaucoup. Nous allons prendre pause et puis nous allons retourner avec de l'autre invité nous là. Nous allons parler un petit peu de droits humains en Haïti. Ensuite, nous allons finir avec une partie culturelle ou sous Télécréole avec Charles Lucien pour présentation.